And now for something completely different. We're going to look at the Pharaoh's symbols of power. Now, there were several objects which the Pharaoh used to symbolize his power over the people of Egypt. The first symbol that we're going to have a look at is the false beard. This was a false beard made of goat's hair, and this symbolized manliness, and it was bestowed by the god Osiris. Why is that relevant? Well, Osiris, according to Egyptian mythology, was the original pharaoh. The next symbol of the pharaoh's power is the heka, or the crook. This was a shepherd's crook, and it was held in one hand by the pharaoh. This symbolized the pharaoh's ability to wield magic and his guardianship of the people of Egypt. Most famously, an example of this was discovered in the tomb of Tutankhamun. Going along with the crook, we have the nakata, or the flail. This was a whip held in the other hand. Now, it wasn't an actual whip that was used on people, it was, again, a symbol. And this particular symbol was about the absolute power that the pharaoh held over his people. Again, one of these was found in the tomb of Tutankhamun. Next up, we have one of the more interesting symbols of power, called the shemsed, or the bull's tail. Now, this was an apron that had a bull's tail at the back of the belt. You can see the bull's tail hanging down behind the pharaoh in the photo opposite. This was a symbol of strength. Think about it, kids. Bulls are very strong. So if the pharaoh walks around with this symbol hanging off him, well, he's basically saying he's got the strength of a bull. This now brings us to the most obvious symbol of the pharaoh's power, the crown. Now, there were several different types of crown that the pharaoh could wear, and these varied according to the ceremonial occasion. The following are the three most common. The first crown is called I'm not even going to try pronouncing that name, kids. All you need to know is that it's commonly called the double crown. Now, as its name suggests, that's because it's made up of two different crowns. One for Lower Egypt and one for Upper Egypt, and it symbolized the pharaoh's rule of the United Egypt. The first crown was known as the deshret, or the red crown. Now, this was worn by the pharaoh of Lower Egypt. It also symbolized the desert, or the red land, hence the name Red Crown. That curly bit on the top is the uraeus, which is meant to symbolize the rearing cobra, the protector of ancient Egypt. The second part of the double crown was called the hejet, or the white crown, and this was the symbol of the pharaohs of Upper Egypt. The symbol that was associated with this particular crown was the vulture, another one of the protector animals of Egypt, as it was thought because it flew so high, it could see Egypt's enemies coming from a long distance. And here you can see clearly the two crowns joined together as the double crown. According to Egyptian legend, it was the first pharaoh of Egypt who combined these two crowns and wore them as a symbol of the unification of ancient Egypt. Whew, that was a lot of work. Well, the next crown's a lot more straightforward. It was called the nemes, the blue and gold striped cloth headdress. And this particular crown symbolized the power and kingship of the pharaoh. The most famous example of this crown that we have ever found was in the tomb of Tutankhamun, on the golden death mask of the boy king. Also, take a look on the forehead. See that? The cobra and the vulture, the symbols of Lower and Upper Egypt. The last crown that we're having a look at today is the kepresh, or the war crown. This was a tall headdress made of blue cloth or leather and decorated with gold discs. And it was worn in battle by the pharaoh and at certain ceremonies. And look there on the front, you can see the cobra, the protector of Egypt. It's kind of a running theme. And there you have it, kids, the symbols of the pharaoh's power. By the way, these are also the links for the people's work that I used in this presentation. Great! Now you can have a look at government structure.